All right, good morning, ClioCon. I hope everyone is excited for day 2 and everybody had a chance to attend the keynote. I am so excited. So first, my name is Nick Anderson. I'm the SVP of Customer Success at Clio, and I'm so excited to be here at ClioCon. Today, I have the wonderful fortune of introducing Jefferson Fisher. Jefferson Fisher is an amazing individual, and I'm really looking forward to his talk today. So he is actually the founder and CEO of Fisher Law Firm. And the reason we're here today is because Jefferson has built 10 million social media followers in the last 2 years, right? That's insane, right? So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about it and for him to tell his story. Additionally, he is also, in addition to owning his own law firm and building this followership, runs the Jefferson Fisher podcast, which is the #1 communication podcast in the world, which is amazing. And he also has a new book coming out called The Next Conversation. It's already available for pre-sales. It's already selling out, so it's a wonderful opportunity. And with that, I'd love to welcome Jefferson Fisher to the ClioCon stage. Jefferson.
Thanks, Nick. Hey, everybody. Can we be real for a second? It's I feel like it's collective. Y'all are all spread out because you don't like to sit next to each other, but I know that we can have a real serious conversation. It's not enough to be a good lawyer. To be the only lawyer in your friend group, to know the name of the lady behind the deli who knows your favorite sandwich. It's not enough to be a good lawyer, to write the perfect brief, to be able to cite the blue book and your citations perfectly in all your briefs. It's not enough. I want you to just think for a moment, if I was a potential client, you can think about this now, you can think about this when everybody's all together. If you were a potential client, or if I was, and I'm standing up, I've just been, let's say I have a personal injury law firm, so let's say I'm a injured person, and I'm looking out. Y'all are all attorneys. And picture it as any client that is your prospective client. How do I know, by looking out at all of you, who is right for me? You all have the same degree. Some firms have more money in a budget. Some firms have less money in a budget. But as a potential client, how in the world do they know that you are the best? How do they know that you are the one that they want? It's not enough to be a good lawyer. I think there are, last I looked, it was like 1.3 million attorneys in the United States, which is incredible. I did the math, at least on like the personal injury side of things. You have a 0.05% chance of anybody calling you ever, because not everybody needs a divorce right away. Not everybody needs somebody that they've been in a car accident right then. Maybe they don't need a will right at this time, or tax planning, or whatever it is. You never know. It's not like we're in the retail industry or the food industry, or we sell tires, or everybody has to have tires on their car. We have a very specialized profession. So not everybody needs you all the time. And what I'm going to ask you to do in the time that I have is to ask the hard question. If you didn't work where you worked, if you didn't work in your firm, would you follow them on social media? If you didn't work at your law firm, would you follow them on social media? The truth is, you probably wouldn't, because you don't need them right then. Value. That's what you want to offer. I'm going to talk to you about how I kind of fell into all this and what kind of led me down this path. But I want to make sure that I encourage you that you are fighting in this profession. And I don't mean the kind of like classic, overdone, overused, we will fight for you billboard. No. You are fighting for attention. Right through this thing. All attention you could ever want and have is right through in your phone. Everybody's fighting for your attention. You have people that are going out to eat, couples. What are they doing? They're on their phone. You're by yourself, waiting for a haircut. What are you doing? You're on your phone. Everybody's on their phone. Everybody knows it, but the brands and companies know it too. So you're not just fighting for attention, for cases, for clients, for the law firm across the street. No, you're fighting for attention of every company out there. Apple, Nike, Starbucks, Target. When you get on your phone, who do you follow? And why do you follow who you follow? Think about the end of the day, who you follow because they matter to you in a certain way. You're going, okay, how am I going to grow my social media? Look, listen, Jefferson, I'm here to just sit in. I want to know, how can I grow 1 million followers? I'm going to tell you how. Number one, talk what you like to talk about. Number two, say things that they can share. And number three, show them who you are. I'm going to give you a message different from what I feel most attorneys, law firms are doing. What you see most of the time from other law firms and attorneys is that they're trying to sell you, continually sell their services. If they're a family law firm, they constantly talk about divorce. If you're a personal injury firm, you're constantly talking about what to do in a car accident. Here's these 3 things. Any law firm you're looking at typically likes to sell. It's the new billboard frontier. It's the new back of the phone book. In my view, that's wrong. If you want to grow a social following, if you really want to affect change in people's life, and really if you want to enrich your own life, you have to stop selling. You go, okay, what does that really mean? I fell into this because I fell into that trap right out of the gate. So I've been practicing defense law for over 10 years and decided the end of 21 that I was going to start my own law firm, plaintiff's law firm. I had plenty of trial practice. I was starting to get more plaintiff cases, and that made me happier. And so when I started, I made a video. It's like, I need to be on social media. I'm young-ish. I should be on social media. And at the time, if you remember, Instagram was nothing but pretty pictures. You take a picture of your latte, your coffee, put an X-Pro filter on it, and post it. That's generally what Instagram was. And then there's a thing called TikTok. And I had no idea what it was. I knew lots of kids are crazy about it. And I started use it as a consumer, but I didn't post anything on it. And then Instagram started doing reels where they had videos. It's like, okay, I can try this out. And so I hired a friend of mine to do what? Make a video about what to do after a car accident. The most unoriginal video you could possibly do. And we did it, and I wanted to be really fast-paced. Like I saw all these other people doing in like LA, New York, that they were making these videos of what to do after a car accident. I'm like, let me try that. And I paid him money to make this video for me. And I posted it, and you know how many people saw it? Nobody saw it. I was even Googling, why do my videos have 0 views? This was less than 2 years ago, all right? Why do my videos have 0 views? I was like, this is just maddening. What am I doing? I tried another one, and I just didn't like it. And let me tell you what, I just felt gross. Felt gross. It's like, what am I doing? This isn't me. I am selling. You know what turns people off? When they feel like you're trying to sell to them. When you feel like you're trying to sell to them. Like other brands, like Nike, others, they have invested in you way longer before you ever decided to follow them or watch them on your phone. We've had years of them. Not like that for a law firm. So I said, what's a way that you can actually talk about legacy? What's a way that you can be who you want to be and grow a following that way? So I thought, what do I know better than anybody I feel like in my world that I actually like to talk about? It was communication. I'm a 5th generation attorney, meaning don't hire me to install a light plug. Don't ask me to do some math for you. We just know how to tell a story. I know about communication. I know about how to handle arguments. And so I got this same phone right here, got it out, and said, how to argue like a lawyer, part 1. Posted it. Now, there's a lot more that goes into that. And that's what happened. And slowly, that video did very well. At the time, I had 800 followers on Instagram. And they were all just people I went to law school with. And that video started to get a little traction. It got like 1,000 views. And I thought, 1,000 views, that's incredible. I just thought that was insane. And so I had a friend of mine that said, you should put this on TikTok. And I was like, TikTok? What's TikTok? And so I posted it on there. And then it started to do well. I was like, what do I do? She goes, you make more. And so by the 4th one, it went viral. Hit like 6 million views. I started getting a bunch of followers that way. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I just decided that was what I was going to do, because it was something that worked for me, that I like to talk about. It got me into conversations with people at their own homes and houses. And it was a way that I can show them who I am. In my view, where attorneys go wrong is where you are always talking about what you're selling about. That's it. It turns people off. I'm going to argue that you can talk about on social media whatever you like to talk about. People aren't going to remember that you only talk about selling. They're going to remember you for who they are. People hire people. My recommendation, and I know we're going to have some Q&A on this, grow your own personal following. Don't worry about your firm as a brand. People don't really like to follow brands. They like to follow people. That's who they have relationships with. It's always, hey, who should I hire? Oh, well, I know a buddy who went here, or I had a friend who knows this person who's at that firm. It is relational. There are too many who feel, at least I know in the personal injury space, they're like, well, how many leads are you getting? How many cases are you getting? I feel like that is just the most caveman bro mentality, where it's like, post video, get cases. Like that's not the point. That's not the point. Because I can tell you, I'm living proof, it happens anyway. If they like you, they will know what you do, and they will choose you because they like you. It's not the other way around. They will never know that you are president of the Young Lawyers Association. They will never know if you are on the board for state bar, whatever. They don't care. They need to like you as a human. And each one of you has your own personality, the things that you love and that you care about that have nothing to do about law. Nobody wants to watch videos about law. They want to know about you. Reason I made videos in my car, because I didn't have an office at the time when I made my first videos. And I was like, well, no, I need to have the perfect lighting. I need to have the perfect office. I need to have the perfect suit on. I need to look like a lawyer. That's wrong. People liked it because I was in my car. You could see my daughter's car seat in the back. It was intimate. It was real. Gone are the days of it being polished. If people have something that is highly professionalized and polished, doesn't it feel a little bit phony to you? Doesn't it feel, if it's too glossy, it's just not there? I think after COVID, people start to really value authenticity. Can you be real? Can you show them, yeah, this person is an attorney, but he talks to people like he's a real person. Newsflash, we don't have the greatest reputation. You know how many people are like, I never knew an attorney could be so nice. There are people who have been hurt by attorneys. There are people who hate attorneys. And we expect them to follow us on social media? Every one of you, this is what I'm going to challenge you to do. Find the thing that you just love. You can be inspired by. Choose that to talk about and share. Forget about telling people everything that you do. If you want to do a post every once in a while, like, this is what I do. Some of the best videos that go viral are women that put on their makeup, or they do not have makeup on, and they're putting makeup on, and they're like, oh yeah, here's my thing. or they're doing, or guys or girls or whoever it is doing something innocuous or making coffee or doing something, a regular plain activity. Talk about what you like to talk about. And if you want to mention, let's say, here's an example. I like sweet tea. I love sweet tea. If I wanted to, forget all this communication stuff, I said, I'm going to go around sampling different places that have sweet tea. That's what I'm going to make videos about. I'm going to go rank it 1 to 10 different places. I make a video, say, everybody, this is Jefferson. I'm a personal injury attorney, and as you know, I love sweet tea. I'm going to try this. I'm at McDonald's here on corner of blah and blah. I'm going to try this sweet tea. Take a sip of it. This is pretty rough today. I'm going to give it 2 out of 10. Say something random. And you know what? Other people like sweet tea. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to follow me. And you know what they're going to do? Share it with other people that like sweet tea. And they're going to say, oh, I got hurt in that accident, but I followed this guy because he likes sweet tea. That's how it happens. You have connection with other people. If you love Lord of the Rings, talk about Lord of the Rings. If you like X, Y, and Z, sports, whatever it is, talk about what you like to talk about. That is rule number 1. Talk about what you love to talk about. Why? Because it'll be natural. It'll be authentic. For you to go, no, but I needed to make sure that they know I'm an attorney. They will know. You can have it in your bio. I get calls from all over the world. And I don't do anything about personal injury. I get calls from people who have attorneys who ask me if they can fire their attorney so they can hire me to handle their case because they follow me on social media. You want to go even crazier? Last year at a trial, we were in voir dire. I give my little opening in voir dire, ask my questions, defense attorney goes next. He asks the question, anybody follow Mr. Fisher on social media? He shouldn't have done that. Many hands go up. Of course, he should have asked them in front of the judge, away from everybody, but instead he says, well, he picked a few out. Can you still be fair and impartial? Not going to color anything? They said, yeah, I can be fair and impartial. Until they got to number 3, all right? This lady was named Mrs. Stevenson. I'll never forget. Short, squatty lady and very grandmotherly. And she goes, no, I don't believe I could. And so he asked another question. You don't believe you could be fair and impartial? She says, no, I follow his social media, and he just seems so trustworthy that I know if he has this case, she really is hurt. Dead serious. We settled before opening argument. I don't talk about personal injury. I talk about communication and helping people. You see the power of that? Of just being real? Of showing your personality and stories? They don't need to know you're an attorney. They need to know who you are. Think who you want to be. Why are you doing this, by the way? Why are you an attorney? Just take a second. Like, why are you doing this? Most people, is it because they want to help people? Great, then do that. Helping people is not limited to cases. You want to help people? You can go bag groceries and help people. So in all areas of your life, what do you want your legacy to be? Help people. I make videos about communication because I want it to help people. I think of one person in my mind that I talk to. That's it. Give them a little bit of advice. I typically make that video between when I leave work and when I go home. I make those videos in a parking lot. It could be a gas station. It's been at Waffle House. It's been at my law firm. It's been right after a court hearing. That's it. It doesn't need to be highly glamorized. It doesn't need to feel glossy. It needs to be rough. Some of my best videos are where I slip up, say the wrong thing, I stumble, I mutter. Be real. Talk about things that other people like to talk about. They'd like to share. If you're always talking about some divorce statistic or what they need to do and some kind of family law or whatever, most likely it's not going to be shared. Forget about views. Forget about followers. You want shares. That's what you want, for people to interact with each other. Followers, I know you're like, this is rich coming from you, Jefferson. That followers, that's not it. You can see people who have lots of followers, let's say 250,000 followers, but yet they have like 1,000 people watching their stuff, or maybe less than 10 people sharing their stuff. Because followers can just be anything. They might follow you because they think you're good looking. They might follow you because they're a bot. They might be somebody who's following you over and across the world that knows nothing about you. You want shares. That's what matters. So say things that people can share, that you enjoy talking about. Don't feel like you always have to sell it. And be who you are. That's the key. Be who you are. What do you individually like to talk about? What's your purpose here? What are you doing? When you feel like, let's say in your social media, a lot of people have these static posts. They're like, Happy Memorial Day. And that's the post. Who cares about that? Does anybody scroll and go, oh, look at that. Can you see that? This firm said Happy Memorial Day. Oh my God, let me share this. It does nothing. It is no different than getting a piece of paper and stapling it, taping it to a light pole in a busy traffic section, just hoping people walk by it. It's like a yard sale sign. Instead, you need to think about your firm, your social media, that presence, as you are sitting in a coffee shop with people talking about the things that they like to talk about. Stop thinking of it as a billboard for people to just walk by. Static videos or pictures are great. You want to make sure it's your face. People like videos. Videos. If you're not doing videos, that's the problem. By raise of hands, how many people post at least once a week on some channel? Cool. I know that there's advice out there of what you should do, 10 posts a day or something like that. No. I recommend at least one a day if you can. But start small. I didn't. I started like one every 2 weeks. I didn't know what to do. But that's the point. You figure it out. And people who want to follow you will follow you. People say, well, it's nerve-wracking. Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be. It's more nerve-wracking when you have smaller followers because it means everybody else knows you. The bigger you grow, the less you really care about the opinion because you really don't know any of these people. It's much scarier to post in front of your friends. But the people that love you will support you. And the people that care about you will share it. The people that don't never would anyway. So don't hide behind that. I'm going to encourage you, end of the day, you got to follow your heart on it and show your personality. People with the biggest followings, it's not because they push what they're selling. It's because they show who they are. I know ladies like to do fashion, whatever they're wearing or whatever they're making. Guys I've seen like to talk about sports. There are ways that you can show your personality without acting like it's a commercial every time. So use it to show exactly who you are. Because it's not enough to be a good attorney, but it is enough if you're just a good person. Cool? Awesome. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Jefferson. Amazing. I'm now like rethinking all my social media posts in my head here. So, what amazing story. What really strikes me is the authenticity that you talk about here. But I wanted to transition and ask, amazing journey building 10 million social followers. I don't know how you did it so quickly. Obviously, you gave us some insights into that, but building 10 million is amazing. Obviously, was there any missteps along the way? Did everything go perfect, or what's the one learning that you have?
Would be things will go wrong. You will have a video that does not do well. You will have that video that you're like it's easy to get in your head before you post. People are gonna hate it. Nobody really is gonna hate it. It's just you have to have the gumption of getting it out there, and once you do, you feel better. You get a little bit at a time, You just can't judge your worth. We are the biggest critics. Attorneys, oh my gosh, we're type A, just gunners. We will criticize everything terribly from how we look to the message that you give. Don't do that. You are a terrible judge of how you will come across. Videos that I hated did incredible. Videos I thought were wonderful did terrible. So you, at the end of the day, you just have to get that message out there. There will absolutely be missteps, and you just have to figure it out. But that's the process, is the more you do, the more that you learn. If you look at my videos 2 years ago when I started versus now, they're very different. In both my cadence, like I would even test if I made point number one a little bit longer, and then the next video I would make point number one a little bit shorter. And so I would test which one would capture more of the attention as I went.
So you almost adopted like a test and learn philosophy on how you're actually delivering these.
Yeah. You get to see what content is going to match that audience or what resonates with them the most, and then you are able to scale of, is it better to have a video that's only 30 seconds versus a whole minute or anything like that. So you find things that you test throughout the time. And somebody asked me before, I want to make sure I talk about it, is when was the time that it felt like it clicked, like it really ramped up? So I made my first post, and these were just trash posts at the beginning of January of 23.
That's amazing.
Is it? What year is this? 24?
24.
Okay. Yeah, geez. Okay, okay. And then they were just videos I made like with my kids and stuff, which I eventually had to pull off. But the first video that I made, I tested it, then I just continued on it until November of 23, and then I started doing it every day, Monday through Friday, not weekends, because you can't let it take away from your family time. You can't let that absorb you. You just have to set that aside. But then in February, I had videos that out of nowhere that I had posted the week before started going nuts. So I had roughly about 100,000 followers at that time, and I had 3 videos that started to do really well, and they just started to feed off each other. And I was gaining about 100 to 150,000 followers a day. And it went from
150,000 a day?
Yeah, it was wild.
Wow.
I thought you want to be real? I thought my Instagram was broken. I thought, you know that scene in a movie where like the security guard falls asleep and the mug of coffee like spills on the keys and stuff? Like I was like, somebody messed up at Instagram. This shouldn't be happening. And all of my metrics were gone. Like it was just blank for about 2 weeks. And then it came back on, and it had over like 1.4 right then from that week. And then it can just continue to grow. And then that's when you have a lot more names follow, and then they share, and then just continue to grow.
Well, one of the stories that I loved was, you have impact when you walk into a courtroom and one of the members of the jury says how authentic you are and helps. Like,
yeah, that was wild. I was trying not to laugh, but I've also had it at a hearing. I had not been in front of that judge before, and the other side was some Dallas attorneys. I say it like that because some Dallas attorneys have a reputation. That's fine. And the other, before the hearing was over, the judge said, the guy's name was, let's just say it was Mr. Robertson. Judge asked Mr. Robertson on the defense side, he said, "Are you following Mr. Fisher?" He said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Mr. Fisher, he has a social media. Are you following him?" He said, "No, sir." He said, "Well, you need to do that." He said, "Sir," and the other attorney kind of laughed, and the judge goes, No, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. You need to go follow him right after. His stuff is fantastic." I was, okay, thank you, Judge. So we didn't have a hearing the next time on the motion that we wanted to put forth. We resolved that. But I mean, it just, when you have the ability to, it has nothing to do about personal injury. I just talk about communication, something that helps people. Or it could be something that just people like. There are people that, if I was great at DIY, which I am not your guy for that, but if I was, I could make videos on that. Or if I also like interior decorating, or if I really like food. It's things that you do help people. Talk about the things you like to talk about, and they will know as an aside that you're an attorney, and that will go way farther at growing an audience. People don't like to follow firms.
I That's wonderful advice. And I want to turn over to the audience here, but before I do, we're going to do some Q&A with the audience so that everyone can ask some questions here. But before I do that, tell me about your new book.
Oh, thanks, Nick. So I had a literary agent reach out because I was going to self-publish a book, and then we ended up getting a deal with Penguin Random House. And so I have the same publisher as a book called Atomic Habits, if you're familiar with that book. So I have the same editor and publisher that he has. And it just released on pre-order 2 weeks ago and will be released in March. But the power of social media is wild, y'all. They told me that they are typically thrilled. Penguin is thrilled when their author has about 500 pre-orders before publication date. We hit nearly 11,000 in less than 24 hours. That's just social media. And so I'm really excited about the book. I've some great reviews on it already and very, very pumped about it. So, but yeah, it talks about like my little journey and being an attorney, and I'm trying to raise the reputation of attorneys and making people know that we're just real people too, and we can be cool, and we're not all just old white dudes with slick black hair with arms crossed on a billboard. We're real humans.
I love that. And authenticity is amazing here. And so with that, what I'd love to do is actually open it up to the audience here. And we already have a million questions. Hands raised.
And by the way, I'm just here today. So
I'm going to go out into the audience here and we'll take a few here. We'll start right in the front.
Thank you so much. Definitely a fan. So excited you're here because I watch your videos all the time. I'm like, this is so interesting. Nothing about the law, but it's like so useful. So when it comes to, I try to tell like my clients, like, okay, you need to make videos if you want to go viral. They can't just be about boring legal things. You have to actually show a bit of your personality. And let's say they're like an immigration law firm or even a, California employment law defense lawyer, and they're so stuck on just making content about legal topics. So for those type of practice areas, how can they apply what you've done to actually take that and talk about something of interest? But let's say they're like a little bit conservative or they're not as open to the idea. So it's like, I'm trying to get them to like, come on, like, let's get these things to go viral. So what are your thoughts on that?
Would be number one, the goal should not be virality. That I think like you have no control over that. A video going viral, you can't pay for a video to go viral. It just happens. And so if you want them to do that, I would try to convince them to do at least one video of just being themselves. Even if it's just talking to the camera about anything aside from it. That's going to be the biggest impact. What I've seen other attorneys that do it well is they're doing an activity, anything. It could be, hey, I'm waiting in the carpool line, waiting to get my kids. Hey, did you know, blah, blah, blah. And they can mention something about the law and then go on about talking about whatever they're complaining about or whatever it is. If you like, say you're complaining about kids carpool or whatever, I would just try doing one little video at a time of just themselves, because the more comfortable they get with it, the more they'll realize they don't have to talk about it. Like my videos that I did with law versus the videos that I did with myself, way different. You're going to see that when you're just being a person, you get more views than if it's trying to push something right out of the gate. But don't let their goal be virality.
All right, great advice. I'm going to hop around.
Yeah, and if I miss anybody, I will be hanging out.
What's your stance on profanity in your videos?
Is it real to you? Then go for it. I mean, yeah. yeah. I mean, it's just real, but just know there are going to be a section that does not like that. That's just the way it is. She's probably not here, but there's a group called Law Rank, and I was on their podcast, and she cursed a lot in the podcast, and then my followers found it and then left like a ton of reviews criticizing her for cussing in front of me, right? My brand is not that, and so that's what I mean. So, and she did not care at all, but there are people that feel very strongly against it, and so it can be very polarizing. Just know I would stay away. Anything political, just know you're going to cut off half of your audience. If profanity is natural to you, I think it's going to be just fine. So don't worry about it. Yeah.
That's actually one of my favorite videos that you had on how to talk to people about politics.
Oh, yeah.
How do you deal with all the leads that must come in? You got 6 million followers on IG. Like, I have 5,000 followers, and I get inquiries from, other jurisdictions, whatever. Yeah. Like, it's kind of it's a problem for me. Like, I can't imagine.
Yeah, we had to totally shift the way we were even answering the phones because we were having people call from all over and then wanted to take 20 minutes to tell you about their X, Y, and Z. But it's not just personal injury. It could be any number. So I had to hire like 3 people just to help with those sections and groups and where I want to refer cases to because I'm only practicing in Texas. So. But yeah, I hired... At the time, it was just me and like 3 other people. And then now we're about 25-ish. And so I hired a COO, who's also like one of my best friends. He has an MBA, so he's great. But we had to build out completely, man, the whole section of that. Because if not, it can weigh you down. If it was just me answering the phone, there's no way. And so we have a receptionist. We have an external receptionist to field those calls because there are people who they want to talk to me because they have to talk to me. I need to talk to Jefferson. I have this interview tomorrow. I want to talk to him. Versus people that have like a legal need and then so we have this whole branch. But yeah, that took time. It was messy at the beginning, but we finally figured it out. We have like an internal receptionist.
So my question is, do you have any advice for a legal assistant who wants to help grow a firm's social media following, but the lawyer does not want to participate with videos?
Yeah. So is it just one attorney or all the attorneys?
None of the attorneys in the firm want to do videos, but one of the attorneys really wants to have a large social media following.
It's funny.
Yeah, did everybody hear her? Okay, good. So if they don't want to be on social media, then there are ways, well, you could be funny about it. If they're like absolutely never show my face, then there's really nothing you can do. That's just a firm that is going to want to dwindle away social media wise and in terms of attention. But like you could easily make a little video. This is Greg. He hates social media. He also does X, Y. Like you can find different ways. But if they're not wanting to, it's going to be super hard to convince them unless they see some type of what I think is wrong, some kind of economic benefit. They want to, it's like they expect one video is going to immediately affect their bottom line. It's just brand awareness all day long. So there's nothing you can do to convince stubborn attorneys to do it. But I would just try your best to stay away from the static photos. Yeah.
So I sort of have a follow-up question to that because my law firm has 65 attorneys. So I would like for our marketing team to build the brand, making the attorneys relatable without having to have every attorney on social media. Okay. So how does, to her point, like how does the administrative staff help build the brand without having to have the attorneys kind of the authentic face of the brand?
So with or without?
I mean, primarily.
Y'all have to remember, I need to like get in front of the mains here because the audio goes out to y'all, not to me. Tell me again.
So I would like to do it primarily without the attorneys just because I have so many.
Why?
Why do I have so many attorneys?
No. Oh, why do you want to do it without the attorneys?
Because attorneys are challenging to get on the marketing
What does she say? Oh, challenging. Oh. So you have 60-something attorneys at your firm.
Yes.
But you want to display the attorneys prominently as the authentic part of your firm, right? Or you don't want to?
I don't not want to. What I would like to have is the marketing team just having control of here's our brand, here's the type of people that we work with, understanding the challenges that our clients face, trying to reach our firm. And so it's going to be less of a personal, authentic feel and more of a brand building?
Okay. Well, I feel like that's going to be a little bit difficult because there are people who do marketing for law firms, and it creates a very difficult job for them when the attorneys aren't wanting to comply. I mean, like what happens is attorneys hire marketing and they're like, do marketing, do stuff, why don't we have more followers? You're marketing. Like, that's not how it happens. You can always just do those static posts, but it's not going to grow. So you'll have the marketing submit this report, we did X amount of posts per week, and you have 5 new followers. Yay, that's great. I would highly encourage that even if this marketing team, you have somebody that is responsible as, the people marketer, they're going to go around and help feature attorneys, maybe their personalities, even if it's just random in the office. You know how many video, like that catch of just getting like if they know the attorney already knows that somebody's coming in, let me get my phone. And like automatically this marketing person is going to come in, go, hey, I'm going to do a video on you. It's just going to be fine. Okay. We're going to talk about what you like to do. We're going to introduce you. That's fine. And so we're going to come in, they're going to get the phone and they go, hey, this is Greg. Greg likes to go fly fishing, whatever. And like, what are 3 weird things about you, Greg? And so little ways that you can try to display your attorneys, because I think if you're a law firm and you're not showing the personality of your firm, then other people are going to choose your personality for you. And it's going to be negative unless they actually see that you're a human. The face is what all's going to matter. They go, oh yeah, he looks nice. That must be a nice law firm. So I would do your best with it. That's hard because older attorneys don't like change. Yeah.
I love establishing the narrative here. One more question.
Where should we be posting? There's a bunch of different, you have a million followers. Is it all on one platform? Are you posting on several? They change all the time.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I personally like. I like Instagram the most. The reason why is because they are the friendliest with adding links to stories and different things. Other platforms like TikTok do not want you to leave TikTok. So they don't allow external links to things. You can put it in the bio, but in terms of like making a video, there are some algorithms that as soon as you say the word link or out there, they will minimize it because they want everybody to stay in. That's why I like Instagram. I feel like I can communicate as much as I want with my audience and community there. But everybody's a little bit different. Instagram, I feel, is more like the 30 to 40 range, 25 to 40. And Facebook is now like everybody 50 and above. And then, and all your stuff gets lost with like all the political memes that like everybody thinks are true. And then you have TikTok that are all young kids, and the real young kids think TikTok is old and they're on like Snapchat and everything else. I would recommend post on all of them. You just take the same video and post it across. If you do it a lot and you know a lot of marketing, every market's a little bit different. Like LinkedIn, whenever I do a LinkedIn post, I try to make sure that my caption is more business professional focused versus on Instagram versus on TikTok. So it's each platform, you have to respect their individual personality of that platform. But if you're just starting out, I would, Facebook and Instagram, you really can't go wrong with. TikTok is only video, pretty much. You can put static videos, but that's not as cool.
Like we specifically do elder law.
Okay.
So like, should we be even doing like our fun things around that, or just, it doesn't matter, just get a following?
Yeah, let's make elder law fun. Yeah, I would definitely I'm all for fun. So I would still try and do anything that you could to talk about any of that. I mean, I feel like elder law is such a niche. I mean, you could come up with some really cool stuff that would be fun there that would also be funny. But yeah, I wouldn't shy away from that at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Of course, all the questions are on the other side of the room here.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, I have a question. I post a lot of things. And to your point about the personal side, I'm trying to do better at that. And I'm wondering, literally, when you start talking, you said you speak to one person. And I think that's super helpful advice. And what I'll find myself, I always start them like, all right, so. And every time I'm like, God damn it. All right, I did all right, so again. And just if you could share a little bit of getting into that headspace, I think a lot of times it's that first line to get out. That's the hardest when you're making the video. Just like, so on yours, you're just in the car and, it seems like you just effortlessly start. So if you had any additional words to say about speaking to the one person and how to kick off the thing that you're trying to say.
Yeah. So there's a hook. That's what they call it. It's just the first thing that you say to get their attention, because if you wait 5 seconds, they're gone. Like if you take even 2 breaths, they're gone. There's nothing wrong with saying, all right, so, but you can make it fun if you're like, all right, so, and then you can tell your story. So it's like getting their attention right out of the gate. What is the traditional advice that has also worked for me, that's kind of how that's morphed, is I tell them what I'm going to talk about. So I might say, how to argue with a strong personality, or what to say to someone who belittles you. I say it right out of the gate, and then I go right into number one, and then I tell them what to say. Too many people, when they do a video, this is how it goes wrong. They'll say, okay, so I get this question a lot, and I feel like I could really help y'all. And nobody asked that question, by the way. They're just going to say it. And here is what I'm wanting to talk about, and like you already lose them as soon as you do like, okay, so how says that thing, like typically like you just losing them. You gotta go right out of the gate of what they need to know in the first five seconds, or else they're gone.
Well, see, and for me, when you're giving tips like 1, 2, 3, I get that. So what I'm thinking about as you're talking is I love poetry. It's the thing I care about probably the most. That's sort of
beautiful.
Closet me, I guess. I don't really talk about that. So it's not going to be a, hey, you want to talk about poetry and 3 tips. Here's how you can read a poem.
Yeah.
I guess you could do that. But
I'm saying, actually, this sounds
I don't know.
Pretty good. No. So,
work, I guess.
No, but like there are other accounts that are out there that I know that do really well. And all they do is they'll say, here's this quote that I heard. And then they'll just say it right there. Here's this quote that touched my heart this morning. And then they say it right then. And that's it. But I mean, you're giving it right out of the gate, what it is and why it matters. And so if it touches their heart, that's something that they'll want to share.
This over to Leah.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Leah Wise, and I'm also a personal injury attorney / content creator.
Amazing.
So my question for you is, have you gotten to a point where law is no longer your priority, or do you think you'll be a lawyer forever? Or are you kind of more like, I'm a speaker, I'm a public figure, I'm focusing on brand deals now because you have such a large following? Or is law always going to be your main like bread and butter?
It used to be that law was like 80%, and then just doing this content because it helped my law firm was 20%. And it's like now almost the opposite because of the speaking, the book, all the stuff. But I have lawyers that handled my cases. I'm now just a window front. It's like, oh, that's the firm that Jefferson's at. And so they will call. So it's like, I'm still involved in the law firm, and I'm the reason they're calling the law firm, not the reason, but a lot of it. And so I'm never not going to be involved, but also I talk about communication. So being an attorney also helps with that credibility as that this is how I know this communication, this adds and supports to what I want to do. But yeah, there's definitely a part of it that is starting to turn. I'm not going to, I had mediation last week. I had a hearing last week. So I think maybe over time, but I'm not there yet.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome. We'll take a couple more questions here.
Nick is really getting his steps in today, man. Yeah.
So having all of the people that are reaching out to your firm, and with you now being like 80% content and books and stuff like that, how would you say you've deployed strategies or the ways that you build call scripts or train your staff to be like, well, you can't work with Jefferson. You have to work with one of our other amazing attorneys. Like, how do you navigate that?
That took time. That took a lot of time and a lot of, I'm not going to say mistakes, but just tweaking. So, of course, when somebody hires the firm, they want Jefferson to handle their case. A lot of the time what I can do is, if they're an actual client, one, if I'm going to refer them to a different state, that's a little bit different. But if it's somebody that's in Texas, I always try to give an introductory call, me personally. So they just have that additional 5 minutes of, I know, because by that time I already have the facts on all their case, I already know what the status is, I already know what the plan is. And so by then I get to kind of tell them, here's the preview of things. And then they just go, okay, yep, you just tell me. Great, wonderful, thank you so much for your time. And then I have them handling, because I let them know I'm going to keep up to date with the case and keep an eye on it. And they seem to all understand. So that's been the best way I've been able to do that. So I have about 5 steps in place for it all to work out. We have a weekly meeting once a week to run through all the cases that we have. So that's been the best way I've learned to do it, is just a lot of trial and error. Every firm's going to be a little bit different. But yeah, you have to find a way to get yourself out of it. It's that, if you read that book, The E-Myth, some people read it, it's a great book. Like, if you're the one that's doing it all, you're dead. You got to find a way of removing yourself out of it and creating a system. For sure.
Hi, Jefferson.
Hey.
I follow you.
Hey, thanks.
My name is Janice Dantas, and I'm a family law attorney, and you're actually the reason why I did start posting videos of things I like to do. So I'm a musician, and I do a lot of piano videos.
Oh, cool.
And people have been following it, especially when Green Day did a concert in Chicago. I did a Green Day song on the piano, and then people were sharing it. But now people at law events, they'll invite me to play piano. The consulate invite me to do a concert. So now my identity has become more, can you come and play music, which I love to do, but I'm starting to wonder if that has diluted myself as an attorney. I got a scholarship once, and then there were 2 scholars. One was, great attorney, Harvard, blah, blah. And then they're like, Janice, she won our karaoke contest, and she's a great singer and musician. So I love it. I do it. People request songs, and I'll play them. But I'm wondering if it's diluting my image as an attorney and a serious attorney.
You want to be a serious attorney? What does that mean?
Or I don't know. I mean, I'm just wondering if, I get invited to play piano all the time now.
Sounds amazing. I mean, here's my thought, is I don't think it dilutes anything. You can be full-time passion pianist, and you can also be full-time passion attorney. Don't let you think that just because you're getting invited to play piano, it's diluting anything. Flip it. It's empowering something that's a passion of yours that you like to share. If you feel like it's somehow causing you not to be hired, for some reason, go back to what's your goals. What are you doing it for? Because I think it's amazing to be able to do that, because that's also good content for people to share and use. And if you're scared about it, that's okay. Just go back to, if you want to make a few videos and to talking about law just for a little bit, to be like, okay, no, I'm doing the right thing, and go back to it, because that's probably what's going to happen.
So I had a whole breakup song series.
Oh, great. Yeah, can we share the Spotify, and we'll go can we get the EP in the back? It'd be awesome.
Who inspires you?
The Lord. In terms of social media, you mean, or just like my life?
Anywhere. I was more so thinking mentors, or who do you look to for inspiration in terms of mentor?
Great. So my dad is probably my number one mentor, and then my mom. So my dad is very diplomatic. Like, I'd come to him with a problem, I'd be all mad, and my dad go, so? And so that wasn't that helpful as a teenager, but it was great to learn. And he would always, you don't have to like it, you just need to understand it. Like, that was his kind of mentality, and that really helped a lot shape how I communicate. And then my mother is very kind. My mom I'd come to her with problems about something, and she'd go, well, were you kind? I'd say, probably not, Mom. But she goes, well, I think you should be kind. So that really focused a lot of my values and what I see as important. So if I can share kindness to people online, even though I'm an attorney, it's going to be awesome. If I can teach people how to communicate, I think it's going to be great. Those are probably I give a lot to how I was raised. I don't really credit any social media person as somebody that I didn't try to mimic anybody. I didn't try to do anything different. You just got to kind of go with what you got.
I think it shows.
Okay, cool, thanks.
All right, these are amazing questions. Thank you, Jefferson.
Yeah.
Maybe just one more question. You talked a lot about your journey, and then we talked a lot about just how you architect all of these podcasts and posts, and how you start and move through them. How do you end them? And what would you like to leave the audience with here today?
Oh, when I end my video?
Yeah, how do you actually end, or how do you think about the ending?
Oh, this is what I did. I had to Google I Googled it. How do you end a video? How'd you like that first response? I Googled it, and they're like, you need to have a call to action. So I did. They said, you have to tell them what you want them to do. Well, I want them to try it, and then I want them to follow me. Let's try that. And so I just went, try that and follow me. And that's how I ended the video. I think you should definitely, instead of just ending the video, instead of going, so that's my story, bye. You need to tell them that you want them to follow you. It's weird, but it's like asking somebody, just expecting that they'll vote. You need to tell them to go vote. So if you want somebody to follow you, definitely communicate that. Or if they want more tips for X, Y, and Z, be sure to add a follow. It's as simple as that. There's no, the pattern that I created, a formula that's really worked, is something that just happened for me. My biggest takeaway for y'all is you could start now. Honestly, you could get your phone out and make a video at this very moment, and somebody's going to see it. I just don't want you to have that hesitancy that it has to be perfect, because I fell into that trap, that perfection paralysis, where it's like, no, everything has to be just the right lights. They need to say this. That's debilitating. Just need to post. People are like, oh, I'm too quiet. There are a lot of people out there that are quiet. Oh, I'm a little bit too introverted. Well, there's a lot of people that are introverted out there, and they're going to notice it, and they're going to like it because they like you. They're going to be like, oh, this person looks really sweet, or they have whatever. It's going to work just because your personality is shining through, not because you talked all about law the whole time. So I hope what you're hearing is, I just want you to be yourself, and people are going to feel that, and that's what's going to resonate, and that's how you could get 1 million followers. I think the name of the talk.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Jefferson. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here at ClioCon with us. What an amazing story, amazing journey, and I appreciate all the advice to how to grow your first 1 million social followers. So let's give a warm thank you to Jefferson.
Thank y'all.